The fall of Ronald McDonald from fame to homelessness. For decades, Ronald McDonald was the face of fast food happiness, synonymous with joy, childhood laughter, and golden French fries. As the beloved clown mascot of McDonald's, he was more than just a corporate symbol. He was a cultural icon, present at birthday parties, charity events, and even on TV screens, entertaining millions. But behind the painted smile and the vibrant red hair, Ronald's life took a tragic and unexpected turn, spiraling from fame and fortune to destitution and homelessness. This is the untold story of how Ronald McDonald went from being the world's most famous clown to a forgotten figure, wandering the streets with a sign and a cigarette in his mouth. The golden years. Ronald McDonald's journey to fame began in the 1960s, when McDonald's executives sought to create a character that could appeal to children and families alike. Modeled after the success of Bozo the Clown, Ronald quickly became the face of the fast food chain, captivating children with his infectious smile, colorful outfit, and playful demeanor. He was everywhere on television commercials, billboards, toys, and even in Happy Meals. As McDonald's expanded globally, Ronald's fame grew exponentially. He was adored by millions and became a symbol of joy. His presence was often seen as a sign of fun and comfort. Kids loved him, parents trusted him, and the company thrived. For decades, Ronald was at the top of his game, living in a world of fast food luxury. Behind the scenes, however, the pressures of fame and the ever-changing landscape of corporate America were starting to take a toll on the iconic clown. The changing landscape of fast food. By the late 2000s, the fast food industry began to shift. As more people became concerned about the health implications of fast food, McDonald's faced growing criticism. Obesity rates were skyrocketing, and McDonald's found itself in the crosshairs of public scrutiny, with documentaries like Super Size Maine and health advocates pointing fingers at the corporation for its role in promoting unhealthy eating habits. Ronald, as the face of the brand, became the target of these attacks. McDonald's responded by launching a series of initiatives aimed at improving its public image. Healthier menu options were introduced, salads appeared on the menu, and the chain rebranded itself as a more health-conscious company. But Ronald's once shiny persona began to lose its luster. The character, once associated with childhood innocence, was now seen as a mascot for unhealthy eating, and McDonald's slowly started to distance itself from the clown, who had once been the heart of the brand. The fall from grace. As McDonald's shifted its focus, Ronald McDonald found himself in unfamiliar territory. He was no longer the focal point of advertising campaigns, and slowly but surely his appearances dwindled. The company's board of directors decided it was time for a rebrand, a modern, health-conscious image that no longer aligned with a clown selling burgers and fries. One by one, his scheduled public appearances were canceled. The once popular Ronald McDonald houses, known for helping children and families in need, began to cut down on events featuring him. The beloved clown was gradually phased out, replaced by slick marketing campaigns focused on lifestyle choices, healthier options, and technological advancements such as self-order kiosks. Ronald struggled with this sudden change. For years, he had been the face of the company, and now he was being pushed aside. But without the fame, his days grew quiet, and his evenings long. The laughter of children that once surrounded him was replaced by eerie silence. And the endorsement deals vanished, and the royalties from merchandise dried up. Ronald, once beloved by millions, was now lost in the shadows of his own fading legacy. To the loss of identity. As the years passed, Ronald tried to cling to the last vestiges of his former fame. He attended charity events on his own accord, and even attempted to start his own independent clowning business. But the demand wasn't there. People had moved on, and Ronald McDonald was yesterday's news. Behind the scenes, Ronald was battling deeper, personal demons. The transition from global icon to obscurity wasn't easy for him, and as the gigs disappeared, so did his financial stability. The fast food empire that had made him rich now turned its back on him. His once lavish lifestyle, complete with plush hotel suites and private jets, crumbled into nothing. He sold his possessions to survive, but the money didn't last. The constant rejection, the loss of fame, and the harsh reality of being replaced plunged him into a deep depression. As bills piled up, Ronald's world collapsed around him. He lost his home, his possessions, and soon after, his sense of self. Without the company that had given him purpose for so many years, Ronald McDonald had no identity outside of the clown suit. He wasn't just out of work, he was lost. He wasn't able to function in a world that had moved on without him. Homeless and forgotten. By the time Ronald McDonald reached his 50s, he was homeless. He wandered the streets of cities like New York, Chicago, and even El Paso, places where he had once been greeted by adoring fans. But now, no one recognized him. His once vibrant red hair had faded, and his iconic yellow and red clown suit was worn and tattered, covered in dirt and grime from sleeping in alleyways and on park benches. He no longer had access to the makeup and bright colors that made him famous, so he looked like a ghost of his former self. Ronald McDonald, once the face of happiness and fast food, was now just another homeless figure holding up a cardboard sign on a street corner. The sign read, "We'll work for food." The irony was not lost on him. He had spent his entire life promoting fast food, and now he was begging for the very thing he had once sold. With a cigarette dangling from his mouth, Ronald stared blankly at the passing crowds. Some people gave him spare change, but most ignored him, just as McDonald's had done. Occasionally, a passerby would pause, a flicker of recognition crossing their face, but they'd quickly move on, unsure if this ragged figure really could be the same Ronald McDonald they had once known. The world had forgotten about him. The corporate empire that had once hailed him as their king had moved on to new mascots and digital marketing strategies. The children who had once giggled at his antics had grown up and traded happy meals for healthier choices. Ronald, meanwhile, was left to fend for himself in a world that no longer had a place for him. Streets become home. Life on the streets was harsh. Ronald had no experience navigating homelessness. For years, he had lived in a bubble of corporate protection, never having to worry about basic necessities. Now he had to scavenge for food and find shelter wherever he could. The cold nights were unbearable, and the hunger gnawed at him constantly. There were no more five-star meals or celebrity parties, just the harsh reality of survival. He tried to find work, but no one wanted to hire a washed-up clown with no skills outside of fast food marketing. He applied to circuses, but they turned him down, preferring younger, flashier acts. He even approached his old contacts at McDonald's, but they refused to acknowledge him, embarrassed by the sight of their former mascot now destitute and begging for help. Ronald learned to navigate the world of homelessness, forming loose alliances with others living on the streets. And they helped each other out with food, clothing, and protection from the dangers that lurked in the dark corners of the city. He still had a sense of humor, and sometimes he would crack jokes with his fellow homeless, trying to keep up the cheerful facade that had once made him famous. But inside, Ronald was broken. His painted smile was gone, and all that remained was the hollow man behind the mask. A glimmer of hope. Despite his dire circumstances, Ronald McDonald never gave up entirely. Deep down, he still believed that one day, things could change. Occasionally, he would walk past a McDonald's and peer through the windows, watching children laugh and play, just as they had done in his heyday. For a brief moment, he would smile, remembering what it had felt like to bring joy to millions. Those memories kept him going. One cold winter morning, a former McDonald's employee recognized him while passing through the city. Unlike the others, this person stopped and spoke to Ronald, shocked at what had become of him. They took him to a shelter and helped him get a hot meal and a place to stay for the night. Word spread through old McDonald's networks, and soon, some former colleagues came to his aid, offering him help and reconnecting him with resources he hadn't known existed. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Ronald McDonald had lost everything, but for the first time in years, he felt like there might still be a flicker of hope left. His days of fame and fortune were over, but maybe, just maybe, he could find a new way forward, a second chance at life, even without the golden arches guiding his way.